get out of the car.
So what do you think you're doing?
Saving your life, and probably another driver's.
All right, come on, give me those keys.
Bert, don't give me any trouble. We've been friends too long.
Just what do you know about trouble, Frank? All right, what are you going to do now?
Not what I should do, that's for sure. I'm going to drive you home.
Oh, look, I can handle it.
Don't make me change my mind. Get in the car.
That's what's bothering him, Frank. Bert keeps hoping Ellen will come home, that it'll all be forgotten.
Jane, I ask you not to discuss...
Now, wait a minute, Bert. Ellen's not the first girl who's lost her head over a fast-talking guy.
I don't care about other girls. Ellen is just an innocent little kid.
I'm afraid she's a married woman now.
That no-good, grafting rodeo hand. Frank, you'll take her for every
Take
cent.
it easy, Bert.
He can't help it, Frank.
Well, he's not helping matters by being sore at the world.
But, Frank, Bert thinks...
Jane, I ask you...
What is it?
Bert claims they're not married.
What makes you think they're not married?
I'd bet my life on it. Yeah, Frank, maybe you're right. Maybe I have been going about this all wrong. I think I know how to handle it.
Sure you do, Bert. You're wrong again. Your daughter would hate you the rest of her life for this.
All right, what other way is there?
The sensible way, as I've asked you ever since Ellen left home. Frank, would you take over? Would you help us?
I'm afraid there's not much I can do in a case like this.
Yeah, what did I tell you? All right, don't worry, you two. I can handle this thing myself.
Bert's never been like that before. You know that, Frank.
Well, he's sure been a problem the last month. Maybe I should have locked him up.
Oh, you wouldn't do that. You two have been good friends too many years.
But, Jane, I can't have him running around endangering people's lives.
I know. But if you don't help us, who will?
I can't, Jane.
Why?
Because it's out of my jurisdiction. I've got an office to run.
I know. But what's going to happen to Bert?
Now, I haven't been to a rodeo in a long time. I think I'll have a look at this Mr. Jess Stiles, but I'm not promising anything. Okay, Jane. I'll see you. Morgan to Bisbee.
Go ahead, Frank.
Harry, put through a call to the Hall of Records in Phoenix. Find out if they have a marriage record on file of an Ellen Peterson and a Jess Stiles. Get all the information you can. I'll be in shortly.
Right.
Did you get through to the Hall of Records?
I sure did, Frank.
And?
Ellen Peterson and Stiles were married a month ago in Tucson. But Mr. Stiles had been married before, failed to get a divorce from his first wife. And he tried in Mexico, but he didn't pay the court or legal fees, and they threw the whole thing right out.
You take over for a couple of days, Harry. I promised Jane Peterson I'd see what I could do about the situation.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going down to Mesa to the rodeo. I understand Mr. Stiles is the star of the show.
Frank, that's clear out of your...
I know. Now, look, if an emergency comes up, you know where you can find me.
All right.
I'll keep in touch with you.
Frank,
Yeah?
on your way to Mesa, you might drop into the state sanitarium at Phoenix.
Why?
The first Mrs. Stiles is a guest there.
Thanks, Harry.
Mrs. Jess Stiles has been a patient here for the past 2 years, I'm sorry to say, Sheriff.
I'd like to talk to her if it's possible, Doctor.
Depends on her condition.
What's wrong with her?
TB primarily. But the worst thing is her lack of desire to live. Seems she and her husband didn't get along.
I'm learning more about Mr. Stiles every day. And all bad.
It's hard for some people to understand these things, Sheriff, but believe me when I tell you, Stiles hasn't visited his wife once.
I can believe it.
Of course, when people get divorced...
Well, they're not divorced.
That's what Mrs. Stiles kept telling us. But when her bills began to mount up and no money was forthcoming, we just assumed that her husband wasn't responsible. We tried everything to make him pay.
Yep. This is a guy that knows all the angles, Doctor.
Right now, she's practically a charity case. And in my opinion, that's one of the things that's beaten her down. Sheriff, she has a good chance of recovery, but she's a proud woman. If you can give her any hope at all, it'll help her greatly.
Well, I couldn't promise that, Doctor. But I can assure you that when we catch Mr. Stiles, the law will make him provide for his wife.
Come with me, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Mrs. Stiles, you have a visitor.
I thought perhaps...
This is Sheriff Frank Morgan. He'd like to talk with you.
Hello, Mrs. Stiles.
It's about Jess, isn't it? Something's happened to him.
Do you care?
I'd like to see him once more. I'd like to tell him what it's like to lie here alone, charity patient. It hasn't always been like this, Sheriff. Once I had quite a bit of money. Spent every dime of it. And when I got sick, he walked out. Didn't even say goodbye. He took me away in an ambulance. I've never seen him again.
And you should never see him again.
Just once before I die.
Oh, you're not going to die, Mrs. Stiles. Why, the doctor feels you have a fine chance to pull through. If you'll just fight.
If I could just be sure that Jess got what was coming to him, that he wouldn't hurt another woman.
You can be sure. I promise you that.
I believe you, Sheriff. I believe you're the man that could cut him down to size.
It's much more important to believe you're going to get well.
I will now. I think I will.
Goodbye.
Hey, Dallas, Bronco, come here. Take this nag and cool her off, will you?
Sure thing, Jess.
Hi, baby. Well, how'd you make out?
Just what you asked for, Jess. $4,000.
Oh, that's great. You know, we may need more than this before we head east.
Then you'd better win some prize money tomorrow.
I'd sure try. But if I don't, there's plenty more where this came from.
No, there isn't.
What do you mean? You had 10 grand in the bank before we left Bisbee. We've only drawn out 7.
I said it was a joint account with my father. He must have drawn the rest out.
Oh, I was counting on you to help me hit the big time.
I'm sorry, Jess.
I don't want sympathy.
What do you want?
I want enough money to buy that trick Pinto. With that horse under me, I could knock him dead.
There's nothing wrong with the horse you have.
Oh, that old nag. Don't you understand? I gotta have all the class I can get to hit the big time. That Pinto might cost more than 4 grand.
Sometimes I think hitting the big time means more to you than your wife.
Oh, baby, I didn't say that.
Sometimes you scare me, Jess. You're not sorry you married me, are you?
Oh, you know better than that. You're just what old Jess needed. Hey, let's see that.
My mother and father gave me that.
Well, I'll buy you one twice as big when we get to New York.
But...
What's the matter? Don't you believe me, baby? Ah, that's my girl. You wait till I cop that prize money. Standing out there in Madison Square Garden all by myself with a spotlight on me. Everybody applauding, I'll raise my hand for silence, and you know what I'll tell them? I owe it all to my wife.
What do you say, Jess? You gonna buy that Pinto?
We sure are.
How do you do it, Jess?
Well, it's a gift, my boy. A gift.
Looks like we're going Eastern style after all.
Is there any other way? When I hit that big prize money, I'll have an outfit like this in every color of the rainbow.
You were as good as you look, you couldn't miss.
Don't you worry. With the talent scouts from Madison Square Garden out front today, I won't miss.
Believe me, if you do, it won't matter as long as Ellen's around. Yeah, how about it, Jess? How much more she got left?
Well, I've just about hit bottom. But we got nothing to worry about.
We're not in the big time yet.
Now that I've got that Pinto, I will be.
Say, if old man Peterson's drawn all the money out of the bank, what do we need her around for?
Now, how do you like riding in Ellen's station wagon?
She gonna give you that, too?
She hasn't said no yet.
Jess should be on in a minute.
They'll wait for me, baby. That'll be all, boys.
Anything you say, Jess.
I have the pony all saddled and ready to go.
Looks great, don't he, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do I or don't I?
Do you or don't you what?
Look great.
You know you do.
But what?
Did you spend all the money?
We've got a couple of $100 left. Say, you know how much that ring of yours was worth?
Don't tell me.
Now, baby, tonight, Dallas, Bronco, you and I will light out of this joint.
Bronco? Dallas? Am I going to spend the rest of my life with those two?
They're friends of mine. Good boys, mighty good. Come on, baby. You set yourself down in that grandstand and watch old Jess perform. What's the matter?
Tell me everything's going to be all right.
It's never been wrong. You believe that, don't you? That's my girl. Hey, I'd better get going now.
I'll be out in a minute. Forget something, Jess? Frank, what are you doing here?
I was going to ask you the same question.
Daddy asked you to come.
No, he didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Now, wait a minute, young lady. I've come clear across the state to see you. We're gonna have a little talk, just the way we used to.
Those heart-to-heart talks are over, Sheriff. I'm no longer the calf-eyed little girl who used to worship the ground you walked on.
I never wanted you to worship me, Ellen. But you used to always come to me with your troubles.
I'm not in trouble.
That's a matter of opinion.
From now on, I prefer you keep your opinions to yourself.
If you listen to me, Ellen, you might change your mind.
You're wasting your breath, Sheriff. Forget it.
How well do you know Jess Stiles?
Enough to marry him.
Ellen. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had company.
The sheriff is just leaving.
The sheriff? Is the little lady in trouble?
Not the little lady.
Oh, well, I'm sure glad to hear that. Jess has got a front seat for you, all picked out next to the talent scouts. Don't keep him waiting.
Tell my husband I'll be right there.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know about you, but I'm leaving.
Have you ever met the first Mrs. Stiles?
What are you talking about?
There is one, you know. She and Jess are still legally married.
You're lying. This is just a trick that you and Daddy have cooked up.
If Father had this information, he wouldn't have waited for me, Ellen.
But Jess and I were married by a justice of the peace in Tucson.
That's right. And that makes him a bigamist.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Ellen, have I ever lied to you? On the way down here, I stopped off in Phoenix. I met and talked with the other Mrs. Stiles.
No.
Let me tell you about her.
Come on, Bronco, hurry it up. It's almost time for my entrance. With that bunch of amateurs out there, I've got to look good.
It's all set, Jess.
Yeah, how about this, huh?
You look like $1 million.
Well, how do I look, Dallas?
Never mind how you look, boss. We're in trouble.
What are you talking about?
The sheriff of Cochise County is in your dressing room talking with Ellen.
About what?
What do you think?
You don't think he'd come all the way across the state for his help, do you?
We should have got rid of that girl a long time ago.
Where do you get that we stuff? I'm the one that's taking all the chances.
Yeah, and it looks like you're about the end of the line.
Yeah, I know. Got to use her station wagon to pull that horse trailer.
Now, wait a minute, boss. Up to now, you sweet-talked that girl and given us everything, but stealing a car.
We'll just borrow it until we get to New York.
What are you going to do about the sheriff?
Take care of it. Then get the trailer ready and have Ellen meet me here with the station wagon keys. Now, that's my cue.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we present the star of our rodeo, Jess Stiles.
Boy, what a ham.
Remember, this ham has kept you two guys going. Go on, get going. Come on.
Not a very pretty story, is it?
If this woman who's supposed to be his wife is in the sanitarium...
The only reason she's in the sanitarium is because he drove her there. He took everything she had and tried to get rid of her.
But he never said a word about being married.
For good reason.
The woman's sick. She must be lying.
Ellen, there's a copy of the marriage license in the Hall of Records in Phoenix.
I won't believe it. I can't believe it. I've got to see him. Hear him tell me himself.
I'll handle him.
Be my guest.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
What's going on, Sheriff?
I'll tell you later. Hold these two men.
Jess, I've got to talk to you.
How about that? Did you ever hear so much cheering and applause?
But Jess, listen to me.
Later. Look, you got the keys to the station wagon?
Yes, but Jess...
Later, I said. Now, we got to get out of here right away. You get the car.
Not until I've talked to you.
What's the matter with you? You want to go home to Papa?
I want you to tell me the truth.
You shut up and get moving.
Have you ever been married before?
Well, that's what the sheriff was talking to you about.
It's true.
So what?
And you've never been divorced?
I'll explain to you later. Now, get going.
Why didn't you tell me?
I'm telling you now.
No, Good.
The keys to the car.
No. You've taken all you're gonna get.
Give me those keys. Out of my way, Sheriff.
Take me home, Frank. Take me home.
Sheriff, since you're not in Cochise County, maybe we'd better explain to the chief.
Yeah. Well, you can take him along with the others. I'll meet you down at the station and file a report.
Better make it the hospital.
I don't care where you take them, as long as they're not in my county. It's a mighty pretty saddle, Ellen. I bet he used your money to buy it.
Yes.
Anything else around here belong to you?
This pinto.
You want them, don't you?
I want them for Dad. If he'll accept them.
I wouldn't worry about that. Your dad's going to be the happiest man in Cochise County tonight. Let's go home.